Well, 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 well. The fight. The fight nobody's been waiting for. The super fight. Well, maybe the normies, the casuals, the celebrity lovers. But yes, Anthony Joshua, also known as Gay J, will be fighting Jake Paul. And it's been confirmed on all the social media. Joshua, Paul, Netflix. It's going to be shown on Netflix. In Miami on December the 19th. I was sure it's just going to be talk, man. I mean, it seems just ridiculous. Joshua, right? 28-4 record with 25 KOs. Yeah, he looked a bit frail last time against Daniel Dubois. And he's not boxed since then. That was September 2024. I mean, you're talking about a genuine heavyweight fighter, a genuine heavyweight puncher who ironed out, you know. Anytime he's fought a non-boxer was Francis Ngannou, and he dealt with him in spectacular fashion. And now he's fighting Jake Paul, a YouTuber turned boxer. Like I said, at his level, Jake Paul is okay. I mean, unless you believe all his fights are fixed, but, beating up has-beens, 59-year-old men, MMA fighters, basketball players, He's actually rated by the WBA, at cruiserweight, number 14. So technically, Ramirez could actually fight him, if he wanted to. He could pick him as an opponent, but obviously Joshua, I don't know who's the bigger name. In America, is it Ramirez or Joshua? I don't know. Probably Joshua. But, because he's a heavyweight, I mean, you got an ex-heavyweight champion you can really bang. Also, gold medalist, although he lost at least 2, possibly 3 fights. It was a setup, the Olympics. But it's going to be an 8-rounder. It's going to be an 8-rounder. I don't think Jake Paul has boxed more than 8 rounds, I don't think. I don't know, what's his greatest victory, Jake Paul's greatest victory? Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Mike Tyson was almost 60, and he couldn't even stop him. And Mike Tyson claims, obviously nothing's confirmed, that there was an agreement that Jake Paul would not try and knock him out. And there's been a lot of suspicion about Jake Paul's fights, whether they're actually real. But why would a guy, right? Why would a guy who is a big name in boxing and can still make money in boxing, Anthony Joshua, why would he agree, to a fixed fight against Jake Paul? Because that's what most people will say. There'll be an agreement. There'll be an agreement. Because look, if Anthony Joshua comes out against Jake Paul, right, and wants to bang him out, he'll bang him out. Jake Paul was basically boxed at cruiserweight. His last fight against Chavez Jr., he was just under 200 pounds. He weighed 227, he's Mike Tyson, in 2024, but he looked fat, and that was using 14-ounce gloves. And now you've got a sanctioned, genuine pro fight between Anthony Joshua, a big hitting ex-heavyweight champion, and Jake Paul, a cruiserweight who's been beaten by Tommy Fury. Don't remember that. I mean, don't forget that. Tommy Fury, an area-level fighter, beat Jake Paul on points. It's and what, Joshua, a world-class heavyweight, a big lump. What does he weigh, 250 pounds most of the time? I mean, you're going to get a fat Jake Paul coming in. When I mean fat, I don't mean like butterbean fat, but a slightly podgy, stodgy looking Jake Paul against Tyson. So let's say he comes in again at 227. If he's juiced up, T-weed up, allegedly, Gay J Joshua at 250 pounds. I don't know, maybe there'll be some clause We don't have the details in the contract. I mean that's in less than a month's time. Sorry, just over a month's time. Just over a month's time. Yeah. You're going to be fighting. You're going to be fighting a genuine 8-round professional heavyweight fight. Now we don't know what size the gloves will be. You know what I'm saying? Mike Tyson was an official fight, and they still agreed on 14-ounce gloves. So, and it was only 8 2-minute rounds, I think. So we don't know the details. How heavy the gloves gonna be. Is it gonna be 2-minute rounds? Is it gonna be 3-minute rounds? Yeah. Is there going to be a clause where maybe Anthony Joshua has to come in under a certain weight? I know it's heavyweight, so technically there shouldn't be any kind of weight restriction. But this is fake boxing. This is fake boxing, and silly contracts. Because let's be honest, right? If this is a real fight, Anthony Joshua would flatten Jake Paul in a round. Jake Paul's not a real heavyweight. He's an okay boxer at his level, but he's not a world-class boxer. He lost to Tommy Fury, weighing 184 pounds. If Joshua was really, really taking this seriously and was out there to hurt Jake Paul, he would knock him out in the first round. And apparently Joshua's been boasting. Yeah, he's coming to bring the business. Anyone can get this work, no mercy, says Joshua, aged 36. Yeah, it's a big opportunity for me. I'm here to do massive numbers. Yeah, well, it's obviously going to make a lot of money. But, will it be real? I mean, I cannot imagine that Jake Paul would risk. And what will the paydays be? I mean, they're probably on 100 million each. You know what I mean? I get beaten up easily. I get beaten up for like 100 grand. I'm happy to get beaten up by 100 grand. But for 100 million, you know what I'm saying? So, but what would it do to Jake Paul's brand if Joshua takes it seriously and splatters him in a round? And, he could really hurt Jake Paul. If Joshua hits Jake Paul with full-on shots, like he did with Francis Ngannou, against the cruiserweight, which is essentially what Jake Paul is, a slightly chunky cruiserweight, he will flatten him. His head will come off. Jake Paul hasn't got a chance if it's real. So, what do we think? Well, I already did a video on this, and I'm like, come on, man. If it does happen, there will have to be some kind of agreement, At best, for Jake Paul, Joshua will promise wearing 14-ounce gloves will just not unload big power. He uses jab a lot. They'll maybe have it 8 2-minute rounds. He'll use his jab and he'll just carry Paul, But or maybe Jake Paul will agree to be stopped with a sort of vague flurry on the ropes, but not be hurt. And Joshua will pull his punches. But it will tell us something about this fight. And one of my guests, Joe Barnes, on the live last week, was saying that the interesting thing about this fight, if it does happen, and now it is happening, confirmed, is that we will find out if the whole thing's a charade. I mean, a lot of Jake Paul's fights have looked a bit like charades. Certainly the one against Mike Tyson, right? But he's also scored what I believe to be some genuine wins. But, knocking out a basketball player and a couple of, MMA guys is one thing, And he doesn't seem to have that much power at this weight anyway. And it'll be interesting just to see, well, if it's a circus and it's obviously fake Jake Paul agreement to be carried by Joshua, then it'll be obvious. Because if it's real, Jake Paul is going to get knocked clean out in the first round. That is the only possibility. Joshua, he's past it a bit now. But Joshua's been fighting for, 13 years as a pro? heavyweight, been heavyweight champion twice. You know, he's beaten some good names. Yeah, he's got a couple of beatings himself, but he's beaten some good names there. And if it's real, there's nothing else that would happen but Jake Paul being knocked out in a round. Nothing else. No other possibility. Even if they're wearing 16-ounce gloves. You know what I'm saying? And if any other result of any kind will prove that it's just a fake, it's an exhibition, that Joshua has decided to carry Jake Paul. It's a farce. Is it another nail in a coffin of boxing? Well, they've been saying boxing's been dying for years. So, I mean, when I say for years, since like 1905, I saw a newspaper clipping saying boxing's finished. But it's very bizarre. And even Agit Caballero is like, what is it with these weird fights? Why is everyone suddenly now interested in these weird celebrity fights? What's going to happen to real boxing? Well, plenty of real boxing is rigged, you know, to some extent, whether it's just buying the refs, dodgy stoppages, bad scorecards. You know, there have been some instances where it seems quite clear someone threw a fight. Kurt Scooby-Doo, whatever his name is, fought Adam Azim at the weekend. And from a camera angle, there's one bit, and Kurt Scooby goes down. He looks at his corner, and his corner's telling him, like, it seems like his corner's just telling him to quit, And I don't think it's because they're worried about Scobie's health. Some people say, well, it was, Scobie did not offer much in that fight. He would have been offered a nice payday. So that, that's an example of a fight that some people think might be fixed. I'm not so sure, but there are certainly dodgy fights. There've been a few in Australia. Paul Galen knocking out Lucas Brown in a round, right? Danny Green when he fought, who was it? Paul Briggs or something? Was it Paul Briggs, was it? Who went over in 25 seconds? Stuff like that, there's without barely being hit. So, there are dodgy fights. There can be agreements. Some people think all sports is rigged. I don't go quite that far, but I don't expect much from this. It's cringe. The normies will lap it up. I don't, and it disgusts me when you've seen real boxers fighting for a few £100 at local shows, and you've got these two guys in a farce being paid 100 million, it's very disappointing, man. It's very cringe. I wonder what the undercard will be. Probably, yeah. And what is he? He's CEO of MVP, Most Valuable Promotions, Jake Paul, and they bought just about every major women boxer. So you know what it'll be: Gay JV's Jake Paul and loads of women's boxing, and it'll be pay-per-view. I know it's on Netflix, so assumably it won't be pay-per-view. It'll be on normal Netflix. But anyway, it's a joke. It's just cringe. Oh. There we go. That's what you get with boxing. You get whackness. Peace in the Middle East.